Hi Real Writers. This week I was asked by someone called Photoshop Learner, I'll put his comment up here, to talk about writing great dialogue. And he gave some examples in The Dark Knight about foreshadowing, when Bruce Wayne says you're a hero and you stay around long enough to become a villain. Great lines, those sorts of things. So here it is. And thank you for leaving that comment. Thank you for everyone who's been doing this, leaving comments and liking and subscribing and sharing. All that's fantastic. That way we can just get it all out of the way now and don't have to do it till the end. Let's get started. Great dialogue is not so much a function of the character. It is a function of how the audience sees it. If you give a fantastic piece of dialogue to the wrong character, it's going to come across as being contrived. Contrived? I think that's the word I'm looking for. It won't make sense. If you've got someone who's a bit of an idiot, he's not very articulate, he's a bumbling fool, and suddenly hears something profound, people are just going to, it's a bit of an eye roll. You're like, yeah, I can see your writing showing, sorry. But if a person is that person, it will make sense. So great dialogue has to come from emotion and in keeping with the character. So when it's coming from emotion, again, notes just below you guys, it can be from what they're feeling and they're getting it out. They're making it visible to everyone. If you watch The Judge, the Robert Downey Jr. film with Robert De Niro, in it they're having an argument in the kitchen and they were improvising that. And Robert Downey Jr. talks about all the things that the judge, his dad, did to him that sort of drove him away. And then Robert De Niro just drops one line, and we waited because he never came. Now Robert Downey Jr.'s character never came back, so Robert De Niro just said, but we waited, as in we waited for you to forgive us and to come back, and that was a boom moment, and he walked off. And they spoke about that improv, and he said as soon as he said it, he floored me. There's nothing more I could do. Those are like those big profound lines, and they come from emotion. That's when a character is revealing something about themselves through that. A Few Good Men. Jack Nicholson's character is on the stand. He knows he cannot confess to ordering a code red, but he's challenged. His authority's challenged. Tom Cruise's character is like, you did it. Someone wouldn't do it without your authority. So if they're doing it without your authority, you don't have the power that you think you have. And he's challenging his authority. So if you think of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, he's challenging him right down low with his security. He sees self-image in that. He's challenging Jack Nicholson's right to exist as that general. And he goes, tell me the truth. And Jack Nicholson boils over with emotion. You can't handle the truth. And then he gives that great speech. And that one line, you can't handle the truth, is, I can take this truth with me. I'm protecting this country. You couldn't handle it. You're just some pencil-neck lawyer. So that's a great line because it comes from emotion and it comes from character. You couldn't give that, you can't handle that truth, to one of the defendants because they were a bit deer in headlights. They were like, they didn't know what was happening. They were really scared of what was going to happen to them. They're suddenly not going to break and go, you can't handle the truth. We're down there protecting America's interest in Quantico, whatever it was. Now, they're not going to be able to do that. But Jack could because he'd set up the character first and the speech was coming from emotion. In the movie Unforgiven, here's another great example. You don't have to have big lines. You don't have to have massive speeches for them to be great and really hit hard and to be fantastic. And you can foreshadow like they did in The Dark Knight, but you can also, if you have the character and people understand what the character does and who the character is, and then you can have that line. So I'm going to set up a scene. And then we can write some bad lines. Some lines that we may not write if we would write because we're inexperienced and we just, we've seen it. We've been fed a diet of these bad lines. Gene Hackman is about to be killed. William Money, Clint Eastwood's character, is standing there with a gun pointed at him. And Gene Hackman's character says what would be quite a corny line if it was responded to corny. He goes, "I'll see you in hell." Now, let's come up with some of those bad lines. Things like, and I'm going to kick your ass down there as well. Or, "See you in hell." "Hell's too scared, I'll take over." "See you in hell." "You first." Right? All those lines are pretty ordinary and not very good. But we've seen the entire film, and he'd promised his wife had got him off alcohol, she'd stopped him from being a violent man, she'd turned him into a farmer, he wasn't killing for money anymore, and he'd made that promise to her before she died of cancer, that he'd just look after the kids and be a farmer and never go back to that bad life. She'd saved his soul so he could go to heaven. And he actually says that. She's saved my soul. She reformed me. So he's betraying that promise he's made to his ex-wife. Now he's going to go kill these men that have actually assaulted and disfigured a young sex worker. And this guy, Bill, played by Gene Hackman, is in charge of the whole box and dice. So we know that he has betrayed his wife, and he now thinks he's going to hell because of what he did, how he broke that promise to his wife. And Gene Hackman says, "I'll see you in hell." And what does Clint Eastwood just say? In a moment of reflection and despair and resigning to the fact that Gene Hackman's right, he doesn't make a speech. Gene Hackman says, "I'll see you in hell." And he just goes, "Yep." That's the speech. So much weight. And it's a great speech and it's a great line, because it comes from emotion and it comes from character. Now, things have to be revealed. So you're revealing someone's nature. Like, you can't handle the truth. Or someone's having an argument or it's a family dynamic, and finally the person breaks and says, "You've never let me do what I want. You've always held me back." And they let go with that speech. How they've had dreams, but they stayed in this town to look after this person, and now it's their turn to move on. And you've come back for the reading of the will, but now you just want to leave again. You want me to leave me with this in this small town, but I did this so you could go to college. So it's dumping their soul out. That would be a great speech, but it's got to be short. Don't go too much. Just bang, like when you have an argument with someone and you've thrown that one line in there, it's just slayed them. That's the sort of line. It's going to be pithy. Bang, 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 bang. It's got to reveal character. And the other thing it's got to do, a great speech will suddenly change the power dynamic. Someone who reveals something, reveals a truth, reveals something about themselves in a pithy, well-targeted boofka line, there's always a change in power, where people are like in The Judge, when he goes, "And we waited for you," and he leaves the room. It's Robert Downey Jr.'s back on his heels. He left the room, he won the conversation, bang, done. So that there's change in power. Or you make a speech to force these people to do something. When England was being bombed relentlessly, and it looked like Germany was going to invade, my dad had an older friend who said that they had farming equipment, poles with knives on the end, because they'd still run out of guns, and guys were getting these sort of things together. They called themselves, let's say, Griffiths Lancers, to go onto the beaches and wait for the Germans to invade. That's how sure they were going to be invaded by the Germans. And Churchill said that speech. We'll fight them on the beaches, we'll fight them in the towns, in the villages, we'll fight them. We will never surrender. And the whole country went, "Yeah, you're right. We're not going to negotiate peace. We're going to stand here and we're going to defend." Short, sharp, 5 sentences. Boofka. That's what you want. Short, sharp. So it's got to reveal. It's got to be from emotion. It's got to be coherent with the character, and there should be a change in power. So when you've revealed this, there's a change in power. So, even in The Dark Knight, as in Photoshop Learner said, when he says you live long enough to become a villain. He's handing something over. He's giving, go off, be the hero now, because I can't be the hero any longer, even though Harvey Dent doesn't know that the Batman is Bruce Wayne. He's like, take it. Maybe the Batman doesn't want to do this forever. So those are the 4 things. Make sure it's coherent, make sure it fits the emotion, make sure that it's written from emotion, make sure that it's short, and make sure there's a change in the dynamic of power, that the person has said it, the big speech to claw back or to enforce something or to get people around him. There has to be a power dynamic shift within that speech. I hope that helps. Like I said, thank you for everyone who's been doing everything. There's 20% off Writer Duet for you guys. There is the book over at Amazon. I'm doing a huge price drop, and one of the other books is going to become free. That's happening very, very soon. And until next time, keep writing.